Yo, what's up, guys? We're going to go through some plays. So we got a lot of promos today, which is great. This is the easiest money, you're going to make as a sports bettor when sports books give us, 5 save discounts. So we got Mackenzie Blackwood. She's discounted from 30.5 to 25.5 on PrizePicks. So without further ado, we can kind of look for some plays. I'll try to keep this short. You can see also Underdog Fantasy has a little boosted payout. So basically the way this works is, what the heck is going on? So on Underdog Fantasy, they usually only give you a 6x payout for 3-pick entries. But with this promo, they give us an 8x payout. Only $13. For some reason, it's $13 max bet size. I don't know. But we'll find some plays for it. So anyways, without further ado, let's look for some picks. So we can start out on this tool. It's called the Fantasy Optimizer. And it's not really going to do anything complicated. It's kind of just going to point out discrepancies in the market. So there's not a ton of value on Underdog right now. Sometimes there's really good bets, right? Last night we found some really good plays. Aaron Nola, Merrill Kelly over and outs. Let's see if they still have those lines up. So you can see, they've bumped up Merrill Kelly a full out. We got him over 13.5. Now his line's at 14.5. But anyways, what we can do is we can kind of look for, okay, let's find some college football plays maybe. You can see the first play OddsJam is recommending is Diego Pavia over 216.5 passing yards. He's looked pretty good all season. And then if we just take a look, at the data, again, the reason you want to look at market data, so you want to look at where sportsbooks are setting their lines. So many people like to look at, it doesn't look like PrizePicks has a lineup yet, but so many people like to look at historical data, last 5 data, but every game is different. Lineups change, players get injured, all sorts of stuff. So that's everything is baked in to where sportsbooks have their line set. Lineups, matchups, weather, everything's baked into the market. So if we go to the Sam Houston State game, New Mexico State, that's what we want to look at. We can take a look kind of at why OddsJam is recommending this specific play. So what we can do is, not all states offer college football player props. But if you take a look here at FanDuel, they have Diego's line 10 yards higher at 226.5. So we found a discrepancy, right? Most bets suck. I say that all the time, but most of these plays are horrible. So we're kind of looking, and they already locked it, which is super annoying. But whatever. So anyways, we also need to figure out, but I would have taken the over 216.5 because all the books have his line at 226.5. But anyways, if we go over here, on Underdog Fantasy, obviously Harper's been hot. He's had a great postseason. But again, I follow a very data-driven approach. I just follow the data. It never, lies long-term. Take your gut out of sports betting. But if you look at all the sports books, right, all these sports books, DraftKings, Fanatics, BetSafe, Golden Nugget, BWin, Sports Interaction, a Canadian sports book. Even though I'm not in Canada, it's still a sports book that has put a lot of money into their ability to set lines. It's still a data point, right? We still want to look at Sports Interaction's odds, or I do, even if I'm in the US. More data, more information, better bets, right? But you're going to see all the sports books have Harper's under favored, right? They have him more likely to go lower, 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. So for this promo, all the books have him favored to go under. I'm going to take the under, So, but anyways, we still need 2 more picks ideally to go with, or we can just play it, as a 3-pick entry, a 2-pick entry, because you'll notice, for 2-pick entries, they give you a 4x payout. Usually they only give you, so maybe we just take Cole Caulfield. And again, this play, generally, I wouldn't want to go with. It's in yellow, but if we want to pick for tonight, this is fine to go with because we're getting the boosted payout. So why does this play have a little bit of value? It's okay, let's check out, NHL shot on goal. And we can just take a look at where do all the books? What's the data saying? So if we look up Cole Caulfield, you're going to see, first of all, PrizePicks has his line lower. They have his line at 3, right? Boom Fantasy has his line lower at 3. And then all the sports books have his line at 3.5, but they have his under heavily favored, right? Fliff minus 150. So again, like on Underdog, if we take the over or the under, we're going to get the same damn payout. So we want to take the under because that's the more likely outcome according to the data, right? And like these books aren't stupid. So here's what I got for my Underdog promo, just a little 2-pick entry. But again, like these books aren't stupid, right? They're constantly moving around lines, based on where action's coming in. Like you can see lines have been moving towards Illinois plus 3.5, their point spread. Like Wisconsin looked horrible last week. I think they have some players injured. So you can see since sportsbooks opened odds, lines have moved towards Illinois, right? The market is reflecting new information. Maybe it's weather changes. Like there's a whole lot of stuff that can move around lines. Like you can see right here, I've explained this before, but like Underdog NFL, this is a great Twitter account to follow because they kind of announce, injuries, lineup changes, stuff like that. And all that sort of crap moves around lines. So you'll see like in the Saints game, the Saints are now favored. So if you take a look at like most sports books, like Caesars, right? They're only very slightly favored. Anyways, lines have been ripping around. I think this was on the Trevor Lawrence news. So they ripped all the way down to minus 170, right? Because Trevor Lawrence, I think, potentially injured. Now it looks like they're only small favorites once again. So, the market kind of reflects all this, injury updates, weather, all that sort of crap. But anyways, we got our play on Underdog, but now we need our play on PrizePicks. So what we can do is we can head over to PrizePicks. Obviously, we want to take Blackwood's over. In general, every Taco Tuesday, I've never seen one that doesn't look good. They always look pretty good. So if we go over to player saves and we look at Mackenzie Blackfield, it's like, okay, like all the books have Mackenzie's line at 30.5. So if you wanted to, you could even middle bet this, right? Not as exciting, but you could hit the under 30.5 on Underdog, the over 25.5 on PrizePicks, right? And then you have this five save gap where if he has 26, 27, 28, 29, or 30 saves, you'd win both plays. But that's a little boring, so let's not do that. So what we can do is we can go back here and we can look for some decent plays. So there's not a ton of value, it looks like right now, but we got to find some picks to go with. So what we can do is we do have a college football play for tonight, Elijah Metcalf. We can just take a look at this real quick. So if we take a look at Metcalf, it's like, okay, PrizePicks has his line at 60.5 receiving yards. So where do all the other books have it set, right? So like FanDuel, and again, you can always skip plays if you don't like them or whatever. But like Caesar Sportsbook, this is a $10 billion company. They have pretty good models, pretty good data feeds. They're taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. They have Metcalf's line at 55.5 with the under favored. DraftKings, kind of in general, the market has this guy's line at like 53.5 on FanDuel, lower, right? Like all these books, North Star bets 52.5. So you kind of look at all these sports books, and you're like, okay, like his line should be set maybe around 55-ish, some at 52.5, maybe 54, whatever. But it's pretty clear, like, PrizePicks has their line too high, right? So we want to take the under. Very simple. But again, you're not going to create a better model than any of these sports books. DraftKings is a $10 billion company. You're not going to outmodel DraftKings, right? And they have access to more information than you. Like they have better data feeds. They also have access to betting volume. DraftKings has a lot of customers. They know which customers are profitable. If everyone's slamming, all their smart customers are on TCU, they'll move lines towards TCU. These books are constantly, moving around lines based on where sharp action is coming in. But anyways, what we can do is we can go back here to PrizePicks and it's like, okay, we have our first play, which again, it's like nothing to write home about, but whatever. And obviously this play on Mackenzie Blackwood's pretty good. And then we can just lock in these esports plays. I included them in my last, whatever. There's a little bit of esports value. So unfortunately, we'll have to wait for Thursday for these plays. But again, like that's where the value is, whatever. So we want to take our boy 369 under, and then we want to take Nuke over. So it's like, okay. And then we have Evan Bouchard under 3 shots on goal. So now we, have our nice little PrizePicks Taco Tuesday slip, right? Under. So nothing complicated. I mean, you'll see PrizePicks, they're only going to let me bet $5 on this Taco Tuesday play. So, pretty annoying. $25 max bet size on the platform they limited me to, and only $5 for the promo, but whatever. Here's what we go with. We got college football, esports, and NHL. I mean, these plays seem so random, but if that's where the value is, that's where I'll be placing my bets. So it's like, okay, like we got our PrizePicks play, we got our, underdog fantasy play. We can always check out another sports book like ParlayPlay. So if we look here at ParlayPlay, we might as well lock in a slip. Again, I always recommend get as many of these books as possible. So if you take a look here at they only have a $60 max bet size on ParlayPlay since I signed up too. Like PrizePicks recently reduced my max bet size. On ParlayPlay, it's always been $60 max bet size. And it may seem like it's not even worth signing up. Like, oh, if they're only capping me at $60, but you can still make money. I've had this platform for like a few months now. You can see on the website, I'm up, $6,700 in profit, which I'm not going to act like is life-changing. Maybe it is, but like you get the point. But just following the data every single play, and having more of these sports books is better because, again, you don't know which sports book is going to be screwing up on a given day. But anyways, what we can do is we can go here, and you can see they also have Pavilla's line at so we want. So what's nice about this ParlayPlay platform too is every single day you get a promo. So like for example, if we want to take Diego, over 216.5, which is what we want to take, that's the play with value. We can actually bump his line 5 yards lower to 211.5. So this is a promo. You can select your own quarterback or receiver, whatever, but you can bump a line. Like literally, you can create your own Taco Tuesday every single day. So if we wanted to, we could bump him down to 211.5, but you can only do this, once per day. So you kind of got to determine like, okay, like, what do I want to go with here? But anyways, we can look at Marcus May, NFL play, early value NFL play. So you look here and it's like Marcus May, all the sports books have his line at, in fantasy sites like Underdog. Again, even if you only use ParlayPlay, like you still want to follow, look at these sports books as a source of information. All these books, really sophisticated models, data feeds, they're pretty good at setting lines. So putting some weight into their odds, is going to help us make more money. So here we have a kicking points play. So we got some early value for, So what we can do is we can take him under 6.5 kicking points. And how does this play work? These pair pretty well together too, right? We have a Saints player on defense to go over in tackles. If Jacksonville's having a good game, they'll be on the field longer. Marcus May is more likely to go over 5 tackles plus assists. And if Jacksonville has possession of the ball longer, the Saints kicker is more likely to go under 6.5 kicking points. So it's like, okay, ETN rushing yards under. How does this play pair? Well, that doesn't really pair well with what we kind of got going on. But anyways, you can see there's a little bit of value. Like we already have Nola, or I already have, I don't know if you tailed, the play I gave out on Twitter. There was already a promo on Aaron Nola over 4.5 strikeouts. But now there's value. PrizePicks was discounting him by a full strikeout, 5.5 to 4.5. And 1 strikeout is a really big deal, right? When you think about like who really cares, 4.5 strikeouts, versus 5.5 strikeouts, it's actually a really big difference in the odds. So you can see right here for like Aaron Nola, 1 strikeout over 4.5 right? 5+ strikeouts means over 4.5. So Aaron Nola 5+ strikeouts or over 4.5 is minus 330, right? His 6+ strikeouts is minus 142. So that's almost 200 cent, right? Like minus 330 to minus 142 for one strikeout. So it's a really big change in the odds, and like, you know, this value really adds up long term. So anyways, we want Nola under 6. And then what I could do is be like, okay, maybe I can find a New Mexico State receiver. So where's the New Mexico State game? So if we just scroll down here, right, wide receiver, what I could do is I could like bump him to 42, use my promo on this, get a little bit of value. Or sorry, I want to bump him higher, right? So we can take Jonathan Brady. We can bump him to 39 for this $20 max bet size promo on ParlayPlay, where you can bump a line in your favor. And then that pairs pretty nicely with Diego over in passing yards, right? Jonathan Brady is his main receiver. So these plays all pair pretty well together, right? A little bit of positive correlation on the NFL plays. And then we got, you know, a QB over and a wide receiver over. But again, only $20 max bet size. You're going to be able to bet for this promo on ParlayPlay. But you can do it every single day, which is what's nice, you know, kind of about this platform. But anyways, what we can do is we can go back here, and there's also a ton of bets on Fliff. So I try to focus on the main books, you know, in these videos or in these live streams. But if you take a look here at Fliff, I'm already on Liberty minus 13.5. But you're going to notice, I mean, it's just like, what are they doing? So if we pull up Fliff, is you're going to see they have the same odds on Liberty minus 13.5 and minus 14.5, right? That makes no sense, you know? So like if Liberty wins by 2 touchdowns, the minus 13.5 wins, the minus 14.5 loses. So like it makes no sense that the odds are the same. The odds are better on the minus 14.5, or yeah, it just like none of it makes sense. So Fliff is a pretty exploitable sports book. You can see Pinnacle has Liberty minus 13.5 all the way at minus 133. So there's a lot of plays where it's just like, what is Fliff doing? So you can see here we got Northwestern plus 11.5. You can get that plus 115. So this also doesn't make sense on Fliff. I mean, they're not that good at setting lines, but that's what we want, right? As a sports bettor, it's crazy. Like, look at this. They're giving you better odds on the plus 11.5 than the plus 10.5 and the plus 10. That makes no sense, right? Like the odds should be worse if you're taking Northwestern plus 11.5. You can see the odds get worse, minus 160, minus 165, minus 175. But here, for some reason, they're giving us better odds on Northwestern plus 11.5 than plus 11. So this is crazy. So this seems like a great play to go with. So we can just play it as a straight bet. And again, like some people will be like, oh, like, you know, Fliff has a max bet size of 250, by the way. And it's legal, again, basically everywhere. But a lot of people would be like, oh, shouldn't I wait until Saturday to place my college football bets? And it's like, maybe, but like this play, you know, Fliff most likely will correct it. And again, these Fliff coins are useless. Fliff cash, you know, this green stuff is what's important. But I mean, Fliff is screwing up so big on this play that you could hedge on another sports book and make a risk-free profit. So some people, they don't, you know, want a ton of risk. They want to make money, you know, sports betting. So if you look at like Northwestern plus 11.5 and then Nebraska minus 11.5, this is just an option if you use FanDuel. Again, Fliff has a max bet size of 250. So if you wanted to, because Fliff is screwing up so big, you could hedge on FanDuel and make a risk-free profit of $6, which again, may not seem glamorous, but this type of stuff, you know, adds up. So usually I just put, you know, 250 in for Fliff into the arbitrage calculator, and it tells me to hedge on FanDuel 281.55 to make a risk-free profit of 595. But usually I recommend round your bet sizes down to like 280 or something when you're arbitrage betting. So, these are equal and opposite outcomes. One of these bets has to win. So you can just kind of like go through the math of how does this, how do we make money no matter what? Well, if Northwestern plus 11.5 wins on Fliff, we're up 250 times 1.15. We bet 250 at plus 115 odds, right? So we're up 288. On FanDuel, we lose 280, right? So we make $8 in profit. And again, if you follow this arbitrage calculator exactly, you'll make the same amount of profit no matter what. But I always recommend rounding your numbers. Now, on the other hand, if Nebraska minus 11.5 wins, the opposite outcome, we lose 250 on Fliff, right? We bet 250 on Fliff. And on FanDuel, we're up 280 times 100 over 110. We bet 280 at minus 110 odds. So we make $5. So we make money no matter what. That's arbitrage betting. But I'm not going to arbitrage bet this because it's clear that like Fliff is the one screwing up. So that's very clearly the profitable bet. Whenever arbitrage exists and you can bet equal and opposite outcomes, when sportsbooks screw up their lines so big that you can bet one team on one sportsbook, the other team on another sportsbook, and guarantee yourself a profit. It's like buying a stock at 10, selling it at 11 on a different platform. Except that's never going to happen in the stock market. The stock market's way too efficient. But one of these bets has to be profitable, and it's pretty clear. Like, Fliff is the one screwing up their lines pretty big right here. So you can also change your state, or we can change our state, and just kind of like there's a bunch of books, right? Like all these books have this. No other book is even giving us plus money. And we're getting plus 115 on Fliff. I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely insane. But that's what OddsJam does, is it just scans all these lines, millions and millions and millions of lines throughout all these games. And it just kind of like points out like, hey, here's where Fliff is screwing up. Here's the good bets on Fliff. Because who knows where they're screwing up? You can search for this stuff manually if you want and find some pretty good discrepancies. This play on Liberty, I already bet. Like a lot of these plays I've already bet. So, like, where is it? You can see I got a lot of bets open. Illinois plus 3.5, I'm already on. Missouri minus 6.5, USC minus 7. Like a lot of these plays I'm already on. And again, Fliff has a max bet size of 250. So kind of working with what I got. 9.25% profit margin on this bet, which is crazy. So we have Liberty, I have Illinois, I have West Virginia, I have TCU, Texas plus 23. I mean, that play seems good, right? You can see DraftKings and Pinnacle have it favored. Plus 100 odds. If you think about what plus 100 odds is, it's like flipping a coin with a friend for $100. Head shows up, you get $100. Tail shows up, your friend gets $100. That's plus 100 odds. You win 100 or you lose 100. If your unit size is 100, you win 100 or you lose 100. But you can see all the sports books, have Texas favored to cover minus 23. So it's like the coin is weighted to show up on heads and we're flipping it with a friend for $100, right? The coin is weighted in our favor. The bet is weighted in our favor. Heads is more likely to occur. Texas minus 23 is more likely to win. Pinnacle, one of the sharpest, smartest sports books, known to be the sharpest bookmaker out there, they have this line heavily favored all the way at minus 118. And we're getting this for plus 100, And you can see there's some other good bets on Fliff, but whatever. We'll call it a day for now. So quick live stream, going through some bets on Underdog Fantasy. Here looks like another good possible pair on Underdog. If you wanted to start building a new slip, we got the Diamondbacks money line. How do we feel about that? It's an option, plus 150. But anyways, we'll call it a day for now. Thanks so much for your time.